Okay, so it being 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific time, I'm going to convene the meeting. Uh, Again, this meeting is on Zoom. It's also on Bourne Community Television, and it's being recorded there. Um, again, for anybody else who wants to sign on, who's watching on television, if you have a comment, just raise your hand in the chat room, and we'll recognize you at the appropriate time as we get to the end of uh, each of the segments. Okay. With that, let's see. We are still just missing
Wendy.
Wendy. I'm going to call the session to order. We have all the members present. All the members present except our clerk secretary. And I'm going to move forward. The first item I have, and I do need Wendy for this, maybe I can postpone it till later in the agenda, is review of the minutes. If I am not mistaken, we have she sent out the minutes for the 10th and the 24th. And if I'm not mistaken, we have already approved the minutes for the 10th.
No, I don't think we did last time.
Okay.
We didn't have them. So yeah, I mean, I'd suggest, Bob, let's just skip over this, and then when Wendy shows up, we can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. And if not, we just postpone them to the next time. Okay. One
There
moment.
she is. Wendy is here.
Okay. Good morning, Wendy. Are you up and running now?
Her microphone and camera are not quite on yet.
Okay, we'll give a second here. Pardon if I rub some of the sleep out of my eyes. My coffee hasn't taken effect yet. Hello, Wendy.
Here she is. You made it.
Yes, oddly. It's my broadband lately has been running in the 300s. Did somebody say something?
It's just nobody's around to share it with. That's why.
That could be.
It's uncanny the way that happens sometimes.
Yes.
Okay, Wendy, we are about taking attendance. We now have 100% attendance, if you want to note that.
Yep.
Plus, we have Anne Marie. Thank you, Anne Marie, for showing up, joining us today. And I'm going to start with a review of the minutes, starting with the 10th of October.
Yeah, I've been. I was just the reason I was a few minutes late was I was going through the editions you gave me for the 24th, but
Yeah, we can get to them. I apologize for sending them late.
Not a problem.
Thank you for doing that, Wendy, because I know you're concerned with Howie right now and his medical condition.
Well, we have a husband about to get a hole in him. We have a roof with a hole in it. We have a cat who just died.
Oh, I'm
and,
sorry.
So sorry.
And I'm spending more time in physical therapy for myself than I do for anything else. So it's been an odd couple of weeks. Nobody died except that. So where are we? On the 24th?
We're on working on the 10-10 agenda.
Okay. Let me open that up. Come on. It's coming. My second least favorite app is Word. Microsoft in general. It's opening eventually. It's still opening. Well, if you want to tell me what corrections you want to make, I can just add them in later.
Okay, let's go around. I had really nothing on the 10th. Does anyone else have any comments on the 10th?
Yes, I sent them to Wendy. It was basically
yes. There was just a one, and I did incorporate that.
And anyway. What was that?
So in the section 4C, I think it is, we were talking about
yes
the Depot Road extension from Depot Road into Falmouth. I was just clarifying that my comment was that the Depot Road facility in Katomet actually services Falmouth,
Yes.
and that it in fact it goes up, I think, to the Mashpee line to the rotary on 28A that covers most of Hatchville. So I was just
Yeah.
clarifying that comment.
Yeah, I did get that in. Anybody got anything else?
I had a question about there was one
You see
comment
that?
that was in,
Yeah.
okay, there's one comment that was in there regarding the 4th of July weekend tests, and the comment was that the speed test showed an increase over the 4th of July, and this was due to the fact that Comcast could improve bandwidth if they wanted to. I didn't remember that. I thought that over the 4th of July weekend, things were reported slower.
That was
Okay.
in the meeting that MJ said at the meeting they had with
Yeah, I'm confused. Jed. John, is that on the 10th meeting or the 24th?
No, this is the 24th.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
still on
okay,
the
we'll
10th,
get to that.
John.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
I
get to
thought we
that.
were already on. Okay.
Okay. Any further questions on that? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the 10th.
Second,
Okay, who made the motion?
I
I'll
did.
mo-
Second.
John
I'll
made
make
the motion. Jed made the motion, John seconded. Okay, roll call vote. All those in favor? Jed,
Hi.
John,
Aye.
Wendy,
aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and Bob. Aye. Okay, those minutes are approved unanimously. Okay, I'm going to move on to the 24th. Let me get them on my big screen here. Okay. First of all, let's go around the table. I submitted about 6 changes to Wendy, a little late. I didn't get to them till yesterday. And if you want, I'll go through those, and then anybody else can chime in. The first one, I just a clarification on wording on the meeting order and attendance. I just said Ms. Howland later prepared these minutes after viewing the recorded meeting. And okay, just a minor wording change. Okay.
Yeah, I got down to where you're talking about the Gap Network potential support letter. I've got all your corrections into there, and that's as far as I got before I tuned in today.
Okay, I'm going to just read these out to folks because I didn't send them to everybody. I sent them to you.
Okay.
The next one I have is under old and ongoing business aid. Let's see. For the first sentence, I said under B challenge, I said this. My suggested revision was kind of a complete rewrite of that first sentence. Senator Moran's staffer, Nicole Manfredi, arranged a meeting of the select board chair with herself and 3 MBI senior management members. Okay. And me, the SciTac chair, did not attend. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were there by Zoom.
No, I was not invited.
Oh, bummer.
All of this was related to me in a separate phone call after the fact by the select board chair. Maybe just say the following information was related to the select board chair to the SciTac chair by the select board chair after that meeting. Okay.
Okay.
And it was Senator Moran's office, right?
Yes, it was Moran, right? Yeah. Okay. So I said Senator Moran staffer, Nicole Manfredi arranged a meeting. Okay. Just to be clear. So, again, this my recollection of a third-hand recollection of somebody else's meeting may have a few wrinkles in it, but I think that Anne Marie said that my relating of it was pretty close to what she had heard directly from the select board chair, MJ.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Now going down to number 5, instead of I just said the select board chair noted that we would rely on that, not
Yep.
that we were entitled to rely on that, just very
Yep.
simply.
I just put up the my copy with
Right.
for that.
Okay.
Did everybody see that right?
I cannot. I'm
Ah.
doing dual screens here. I can only use the headphones with my iPhone, and I'm reading off the screen laptop version that I sent you.
That's fine. Just keep going. We'll follow along in the pews.
Okay. Okay. And then under Gap Network 2, which was item 4B down below.
Mm.
Where did this go? Hang on. Come on. Can't get this to open. Let's see. And they intend to finish, and I added this, the /underserved by 2026. No indication if or when they might serve the remainder of Sandwich or Mashpee. Verizon did not receive a Gap Networks 1 award for Bourne, and no indication that they have applied for Bourne for Gap 2. If they do receive Gap 2 or BEAD funding for Bourne, it was noted that then after that, the CO for Sagamore would be served with existing equipment, etc. No change after that. Did everyone understand that change?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then going down to
wait. So Wendy, I think after the word equipment, he said that was the end of the sentence.
I'm sorry, say what?
After the word equipment, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I put a period there, or
Okay, we can do that.
and then continue the planned one for Depot Road would serve, and this is where Jed, you were making changes there.
No, that on the 10th, because on the minutes on the 10th explained how Depot Road served Falmouth.
Okay.
But I think this is different. This is how Depot Road serves Pocasset-Katamin.
Yep. Okay. So we're good there. Okay. If everybody's okay with that, I'm going to go down to item F. And I said after the semicolon, they will serve all of Falmouth, completing the Gap Network /underserved by 2026. Another semicolon, and the remainder of town afterward.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really and then eliminate before they consider serving us. Under this, there was really no mention of us at all.
Right. So it says they will serve all of Falmouth under unserved areas by the end of 2026.
And the remainder of that town, or the remainder of Falmouth afterward.
After
maybe.
that, right.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
and the remainder, followed by the remainder of Falmouth.
Okay.
And
Before
then
they-
get rid of that, and then get rid of the before they consider serving us.
Right.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they already are.
Okay. That look
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone any other changes to that? Again, I did what I could to make that as faithful to my memory and my cryptic notes of the conversation with MJ as possible. And Anne Marie, chime in if anything that I just corrected changed what MJ related to you, because she repeated that conversation to you also.
It has not, Bob.
Okay. Okay.
So can I move that we approve the minutes of November?
Wait, I still have a question. If you go up a little bit to item 2, like I said, there was a comment there that something about the fact that let me see, because I have it
Oh,
here.
July 4th, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
was that my memory of that is not. I thought that the test showed that there was a drop in service over the July 4th weekend. What do you guys
I did
remember?
too, but the report that I got from that meeting was that that's what MJ said, was that speeds
Yes.
were better in 4th of July.
Right. So John,
MJ's
these are notes from
Not
the
at my
meeting,
house,
not what
but,
we
you know.
speculated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So this was
Yeah.
right, because my impression was that there was a major drop, and I noticed myself in doing my own testing that I saw about a 30% drop over that weekend.
Uh, 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 why don't we say
I can say
the 4th of July
she
weekend?
noted that over the July 4th weekend, she saw local speed tests curiously went way up. This was
Yes,
not
that's fine. Yeah.
this was not a universal experience.
Right.
Well, she didn't say that about others' experience. So what she
Yeah, I
only
think you have
related
to
was her
stop
own
it there.
experience.
I
Yeah.
don't think you can have that last sentence there because
Yeah.
that's not what she said.
So I can say she saw her speed tests went up.
She saw her
Some
curiously, her
speed.
speed went way up. And then just eliminate the other two sentences. You're right, Jed.
Which
Well, this indicates that the ISPs can, in fact, improve service as they wish. That's an inference from us. Okay.
sure is.
Yeah, and this is not an unusual occurrence for us. That is that really was not discussed in the call with her. So
Yeah, those
just
last two sentences don't go there.
yeah,
Okay.
See nothing incorrect with that statement.
true, except that it wasn't part of the discussion. Those two were not part of the discussion. They were editorial comments that we made
Okay.
while I was discussing what she said.
Okay, but how do we say that she saw, just because she saw her speed test go way up, nobody else did?
So
I mean,
that
she's
would
in
have to
Buzzards
be in
Bay,
these minutes. right?
So
Those
these are the
would go in
minutes.
these
So it's what
minutes.
it's what
I
was
understand that.
said, not what
Yeah,
happened
Correct.
in July. We can have another
Correct.
discussion about what actually
Okay.
happened when
Correct.
that's on the agenda.
How about we say
I mean-
she saw her own speed tests
Correct.
go up?
and you can leave the word curiously because she said that was not what she was expecting. And I don't, I don't think we have to put the words "that's what she was expecting." I think curiously relates the non sequitur there. Okay.
Okay.
And I did add it under. She saw her own speed test go way up, curiously and unexpectedly.
That's
Because
good.
she
And
didn't
then
expect it.
Yeah.
exactly. And then that's exactly right. And then eliminate those last two sentences because they're inferences from us.
Okay.
Okay, can I move to approve these minutes now?
Jed moves. Anyone second? Someone second?
Second,
John seconds. Okay, roll call vote. Let's start with Jed.
Yes.
John,
aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and Bob. Aye. Okay, they were approved unanimously. Okay, let me get back to our agenda here.
Okay.
Is that a word file? One moment.
So the next item is review public correspondence.
Yes. Anne Marie, do you have anything that came through the town system?
I do not.
Okay, I got one directed individually to me. I didn't want to circulate it because it was going to start an off agenda discussion or unapproved discussion beforehand. I got a contact from a couple in Monument Beach who noted that now that they were being served by FiOS, they asked when FiOS was going to be offering television service. And I very briefly, I got back to them and I said that the town approved a franchise agreement with Comcast in 22 that was a 10-year agreement that included funding for Bourne Community Television, among other things, funding and improvements for that. And I erroneously said, and Jed corrected me after the fact because I copied him on the one email, that that this was an exclusive agreement that was in place, and nobody else could move in. And I have not gotten back with a correction on that. Jed pointed out that the one section in the agreement that is non-exclusivity. So my interpretation, and again, I wanted to discuss that here with, and I'll go with Jed, who was on the committee that derived that, was that I guess FiOS could, in fact, offer TV service. Verizon could offer TV service over their FiOS connection if they chose to. Is that correct,
Yes.
Jed? Okay.
Yeah, so in that section, it's non-exclusive and non-discriminatory. So the non-discriminatory element means that Verizon would have to sign an agreement that was no more favorable, no less onerous. That's the legal term that's in there. So in other words, they would still have to pay the 5% on video services. So it couldn't be more favorable than that. And they would have to serve everybody in town because it could be no less onerous than what Comcast has already signed up to. So if Verizon was willing to step up to those two requirements, then sure, they could sign that agreement.
But
Yeah.
they haven't yet, is what you're saying.
What's that?
They have not yet done this.
Well, right, because I would suggest that Verizon has got a lot of work to do in order to be able to service every home in town.
Yeah, that's true.
My
That's-
understanding is, and this is just purely out of the unofficial rumor mill, which so far has been pretty right, is that they were reluctant to offer TV service because of the fact of the licensing hassles they would have to go through with each locality. That just offering internet service was much more attractive. On the other hand, technically, as Jed will, I'm sure, attest, and having had it, it's the same box. They don't have to do anything else. It's just basically the NT that they put in at your house as a separate output for TV.
Right.
And they just put it on a different light wave, and that's it. So it's not like they have to do any additional wiring. They
Right.
bring the
Well,
box to your house.
I should point out that Plymouth has opened up negotiations with Verizon to add on top of Comcast to add FiOS TV in Plymouth. And there's also, I've heard that Wareham is. So while, Verizon has gone to the state to try to be able to do like multiple municipalities under one agreement or to somehow make it easier for them. I agree with you, John. That's been an issue with them for years. They still seem in some cases on an incremental basis be willing to do it. Means nothing for Bourne until they at least hit every single home with fiber.
And I think the model here is to watch Falmouth. If they have in fact agreed that they will by 2026 serve every and underserved household in Falmouth by 2026, and then the rest of the town after that, whatever after that means, that would be the model. But in any case, I gave a strong indication to this couple that they should not expect any offer of TV service over their FiOS service in the foreseeable future. So that was
just for my own clarification. This FiOS that they're getting is fiber direct to their house. It's not FWA.
That was my understanding. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Is
quite
that
a few
their
people.
understanding, or do they really know? Because I hear a lot of people getting confused on that.
Well, based on the letter that I saw that was sent to Bob, they're pretty sure they know they're getting it over fiber. There's quite a few people between Clay Pond Road and the bridge that have fiber.
And my understanding is that they're installing a lot of it. From
Yes.
a friend of mine who's installing it, he said it's been going well.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
There's quite a few people that have it.
We will talk about that as we go forward. I have another topic that may bear on this in a bit, but that will be for a future agenda item. Let's see, the next item I have, any other public correspondence? Jed, should I just get back to this couple and just point out the non-exclusive and non-discriminatory language and just say we have to wait for them to serve the entire town, or
Yeah,
think what I
I
said
was
was
going to say,
sufficient?
you could say that technically it's been pointed out that it's not exclusive, but pragmatically it is exclusive because
Right.
nobody else in town, because they would have to service every location and no one else in town can do that.
Right. Okay, good. I will get back to them. Okay, moving forward, the bead challenge. As far as I know, we have not heard anything at all about any white smoke coming out of MBI in terms of saying, okay, here's the list of awardees. Is that correct, Brian? You haven't seen anything.
I have a draft of the BSLs for the state. I don't have the decode key, but so they're making progress as far as getting ready to submit to NTIA. Clearly, if they've got a cohesive data set, it is 2 million lines, so it is quite difficult for anyone to do anything with it. But I would assume they are going to have an official list shortly. We also have the draft of the CAI's outcomes. It's missing some stuff, so it's probably a little premature to say what's what, since we're missing all the CAIs that didn't have BSLs. So I've got an early draft of the outcome, not final.
Okay.
This is really quick one. Brian, what was it you had me work on?
So that was the outcome of every speed test. So to try to see where we stand on those. The CAI list is easier to interpret and easier to assess what's missing currently. But I like a lot. It's much smaller. 50 lines instead of 2 million. And for anybody listening, Excel's limit is 1 million, so you can't even open the document in Excel. So we've been having to play with Python to just even peer at it. It's still very much a draft, and it's not ready for public consumption.
Okay. God bless on that.
It's given us a warning of what's coming.
Okay, I have a related topic on under the bead challenge, and it may be peripheral, but it definitely is related to bead challenge. I participated yesterday in a public information and the feedback session for the Bourne Municipal Harbors Plan development. Okay, and I discussed on that. One of the items that they had listed was public safety and I think they called it communications issues with the marinas, specifically south of the canal, Monument Beach, Pecasset River, and Barlow's Landing, I pointed out that MJ had specifically talked about the lack of any communications ability at Barlow's Landing when she talked to MBI as one example. And I told the folks, the company doing this plan for the town is GZA Analytical. I think they're now GZA Geotechnical. I used to work with them as a subcontractor on site remediation work. But I pointed out that we had nominated several facilities that were going to be included in the harbor plan as community anchor institutions, and they asked what that was and where that was defined, and I gave them that information. I'm going to further relate that information because I, as an individual, will complete their online survey, and I urge anybody to spread the word that by Monday the online survey for that under the municipal harbor plan page will be open, and it does mention this telecommunications public safety issue at the harbors and shoreline facilities. So if anyone else would care to comment on that too, throw your comments in there.
Where is that
we got
available?
we got one of those. We know the outcome of Monument Beach, at least in the draft. We picked that up as a CAI, the harbor facility in the draft. You know, so this is not final, but in the draft list, that one was picked up. We don't have the outcomes of the other non-BSL locations. So like we know our data set's incomplete, but that one was picked up.
Okay.
So
well,
we did get a win in one of the town facilities.
Okay. Well, hopefully the others will be in there too. Again, when the select board chair mentioned to the agency that she mentioned Barlow's Landing by name, there's some hope there that they listen to the select board chair of a town with a senator's aide listening. Anyway, the squeaky wheel gets greased, as we said before. This particular survey, if you go and search on Bourne Municipal Harbor Plan, the page for this on the town website will pop up, and there's a link or a QR code to go and open up the survey and complete it by next Monday. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. That is all I have under B challenge. Let's see. Next item is the Gap Network 2 potential support letter.
Maybe one more thing under B challenge.
Yes.
We should anticipate receiving requests for support letters shortly for BEAD. So we should make sure that's an agenda item, or since the support letters will be different than GAP, so we can't exactly copy and paste. We'll have to make some edits to those.
Will those come to us or to the select board, or?
I almost think we should approach the providers to tell them we are ready, so that we're ready to. Given that things take time.
I'm going to guess that if it does come into town hall, that it'll be diverted to this committee. If the request comes into town hall, it'll probably be sent to the committee.
Probably, or can you make sure that they do?
If I get notification and have the conversation and give, the TA the heads up, then.
Yeah, maybe give her a heads up before, because she may just see it and not think of sending it to us directly.
Do you anticipate, Brian, when that will be, or timeline?
I can't divine that yet. MBI is having a bidders webinar on like December or something, so I'm betting shortly after that would be when we start getting the requests.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Okay.
But hard to predict. We will look more attractive under BEAD than GAP for sure.
Okay.
Increased locations, depending on how since we made a big CAI play, we picked up a bunch of CAIs. So if those get funding, we're going to look more attractive under BEAD than GAP. Okay.
Just in terms of Gap Network 2 and a potential support letter, as far as I can tell, they may have used our other support letter if they in fact decided to apply for Bourne. And we don't know that.
That was updated in MBI's documents, that GAP Round 1 support letters are acceptable for GAP Round 2, and that no provider had to approach a municipality for a letter.
As I recall, when we prepared that, there were it wasn't universally acceptable. There were some conditions in there, and we thought at the time they might elect not to use ours because of those conditions being included. Do you think that may occur again?
They would have to use it, and they would have to use the letter that we gave them, or once they have it, they can't just hide it. And I think we had debated the conditions so that
Yes.
if they used it in one, we were all going to be very happy with the outcome for Bourne.
Mhm.
So I think,
But
those
you think
letters were
they-
appropriate for the time that they were made.
But they had to use it having received it? Is that what you're saying?
MBI, if you had no support letter, you'd lose 5 points
Mhm.
or something like that. So like it would basically make your project not win the money. So I don't see a scenario where MBI would not be
With the-
seeing those support letters. I can't
Okay.
exclude every possibility, but they saw the letter.
Okay.
My memory of this is that the letter we sent in support of Comcast had conditions. I don't recall if there were any conditions in the Verizon letter. The
Yes,
Comcast letter
they
specifically.
were pretty much the same.
They were? I thought
No.
I thought the Comcast
No.
letter said something about splits and
Yeah,
and
they were
how-
very
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were very different.
Where's the-
The letter for Verizon, the only condition we put in is that um, they continue some kind of an affordability program. Okay. And, they had funded stuff and they had a different name for it under the ACP. They both did, both companies did. And I think we put in for both letters that there was some sort of criteria for continuing an affordability program. And then Comcast, we had a whole bunch of other technical stuff that put in.
Yep.
And who knows? We'll see what happens there. With regard again to support letters, continuing with the expected request for the support letter for the bead challenge, I think that might be the impetus. MJ had talked about making a call to Verizon, to Ellen Cummings, specifically to ask what their plans and intents for Bourne were, and if there were any, what the schedule might be. So that might be an appropriate time for us to request that she make that call. So we'll just keep our eyes open for that.
And I would possibly suggest that she also infer to Ellen that that we would be very much in favor of another vendor entering the town. Anyone that would be willing to offer fiber to home, which Ellen Cummings made clear in that big meeting we had, that's what their intention was.
Well, for Falmouth, okay.
No. The one when we had that big meeting, I forget, was it under the Cape Cod Tech Council or whatever? She specifically said we asked her that they intended to bring fiber to home to every town, not just not just the wireless, the FWA
Right.
stuff.
Right. Okay. Well, again,
Every town that they got grant funding.
Right. That's correct.
right.
Just they
Okay.
yeah, just gotta be, the words were chosen carefully to be compliant.
Well, again, just to repeat once again, for anybody watching on TV, that they got grants for Falmouth, for Sandwich, for Mashpee, and Verizon already serves Plymouth and Wareham. So we're the hole in the donut, or two holes in the donut, and I think that would be an appropriate topic for MJ to bring up with Ellen Cummings at some point. Anyway, okay. Anything else on Gap Network 2? Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to move forward and to item C, digital equity implementation. And first, I want to thank Jed and Wendy for participating in that meeting that I could not attend because of other obligations out here. And I'm going to turn it over to Jed and Wendy, who can just repeat what the discussion was at the select board meeting.
Sure. So I basically introduced the recommendation letter. I gave a brief overview of what we wrote. And I think in the end, I should say that the first wave of comments back was that the idea of extending public Wi-Fi, everybody seemed to like that idea. And then in the end, the town administrator recommended that they just focus on that one item, and that she was going to work on a budget and go after the money.
Okay, and are we talking public Wi-Fi in and outside of the building?
Well, they already have it inside the building.
They do, though I don't know how complete it is. I have no idea.
Sure, but so in the letter, we basically we talked about public Wi-Fi in general, and we did also say that they should extend it outside the building. In the discussion, I know, so MJ wanted to run. She wanted to open access to Barlow's Landing. I kind of explained that well, we already spent that money. That the way Wellfleet did it, they took the money and ran it to the beaches. We don't have the money for that. Basically, I said the way that we do this is we take buildings that are already on the town network and we get, we buy more Wi-Fi access points and we, basically install them at those buildings inside and out.
We
That's-
could
There
do
was
that with a
there was
muni
a little
grant.
confusion
next
between this and cell phone service at the beaches to call 911 on the part of at least one person. But
So, right. So
if
the
you have Wi-Fi,
recommendation,
you can use Wi-Fi calling to call 911. So
right. So the recommendation was, or the motion that I made was to expand access to public Wi-Fi through municipal buildings within the town.
Right.
That
Right.
was what the directive was given to the town administrator for this chunk of money that MBI had set aside. So she'll write the grant as such, and then once the money is awarded, then proceed from there. And we did, to Wendy's point, ask, how we could do that at our beaches as well, if it was possible.
2025 muni grant could get Arlo.
You're kind of breaking up, Brian. I didn't quite get all of that.
something about a 2025 municipal grant, Brian.
Again, the grant proposal, Brian is breaking up here. I can't believe he has bad Wi-Fi and he has bad service in Thailand. But the previous grant that was written kind of ad hoc by the committee under the Canal Chamber of Commerce got money that could extend essentially enough money to extend from Depot Road to Barlow's Landing, and the town administrator decided that the town staff didn't have capability to actually implement that, so she diverted the money and gave it to Open Cape to serve extra service in Buzzards Bay. We could, in fact, reapply for that under the Department of Revenue grant, and perhaps model what we propose under what Wellfleet has done and is doing successfully, including what they put as terminations at the end of their Open Cape runs going down to the beaches.
No, they're
So
not
that's
Open Cape. So just to be clear, what Wellfleet did is they extended the town network. They extended the municipal network to the beaches. Right? They didn't add public Wi-Fi directly to the internet. They extended the municipal network to the beaches, and they used the Cisco AeroNet product, which I think they use here, which has a guest access feature, which I think is what you see when you go to the community building. So that's essentially, they had a fire station that was like a couple miles from the beach, and they extended the town network from the fire station to two of the beaches. That's what they did. So if we have internet at the Pocasset fire station, we could have done the same thing and run the fiber right down to Barlow's Landing from the fire station.
Right. Even now, I would think that that Open Cape runs down 28. Do they not? Or?
Right, but this is not Open Cape. This is what I'm trying to say. The distinction they did here, which I thought was pretty cool, they just extended the municipal network, which is under the control of Barnstable IT, and they opened up the guest access on the Cisco AeroNet product, just like they do at the community building.
Okay, so the closest place then would be what? The library?
Well, I'm wondering, does the Pocasset fire station have municipal internet?
No,
Well,
it does not.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
That was
so
one of the
I don't
things
know
we
what the
were
next
working for.
closest building is to the Barlow's Landing then. So maybe it is the library. I don't know. But the
Yeah.
point I'm making is that they didn't just put general purpose internet out there. They extended the municipal network and then opened up guest access like they do at other municipal buildings. That's how Wellfleet did it.
Okay. Just to, I'm not aware of what the municipal system that goes to the Monument Beach site is right now. My guess is if FiOS goes there, they may in fact somehow connect to the municipal
Oh,
network
this is
via,
Monument Beach Marina?
no, Monument Beach Fire Station.
Oh, so Peter Meyer made a comment that implied to me that the municipal network goes to the Monument Beach Marina. Because he seemed to think
Is
they
it-
used to have guest access there on the Wi-Fi network.
It would be over coax though, which is, it's
Oh
possible
yeah,
to
you're
do
probably
the
right. Yeah, I
Wi-Fi
don't
over
know.
coax.
Yeah, I don't know how they get there. Right. I don't know how they get there. But he
Yeah,
it'll
seemed,
just
he
be
made a comment about there being guest access on the
slow.
Wi-Fi at Monument Beach Marina. I don't know how they do that.
I don't either. I'd have to inquire about that.
Yeah.
I could drive
Um,
up there with my phone and see if there's any Wi-Fi there that's public.
VPN
Well, one
over public internet back into the server in
It could
town
be.
hall,
Yeah, it could be.
some
Yeah, I don't
kind.
know. I don't know. But anyway, that was the model. The model is that you take buildings that already have municipal networking,
Mhm.
that already have Wi-Fi running there because for the people who work there, and you open up guest access to the public.
Right.
And to further extend that, you put outdoor access points on the building to get wider range. That's the model.
Correct.
okay. Well, just one.
I just want to
Go
point
ahead,
out
John.
one thing technically about that. If you are sharing that network as opposed to a entirely separate network run, you are sharing that bandwidth. So you might be concerned that if there might be an overload and not enough bandwidth on the guest network.
Could be. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know what
under
that
the
is.
coax
Yeah.
for sure
Yeah.
becomes a concern, but under fiber you can size it. You have more flexibility in the sizing, so
Agreed. I
you
mean,
can-
I don't know what the network usage is at any of these municipal buildings, so I have no idea. I'm just saying that if you could run into a situation, particularly at someplace like a beach or marina, where there's a lot of access going on, and if you're trying to share it with the town at the same time,
Well,
I don't know what would happen. Whereas if it
Well,
was
the way
actually
that those things work with, again, if it's the Cisco AeroNet product, which they're using in Wellfleet, which Barnstable IT seems to be using everywhere, you basically have separate SSIDs, and you can also separate out how many people and how much bandwidth those SSIDs get.
right, I'm just thinking that if there's a lot of people out there in their
Well,
boats,
then, so
you might run out
then-
of bandwidth, not the town.
Well, you do quality of service, so you set it so that the high priority stuff goes right through, and
Exactly,
then the
yeah.
guests get lopped down to
Correct.
just the little trickles, and you can set this for public safety prioritization.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the
with
important
these
thing.
commercial, nicely done
Yeah.
routers. And like
One
if a
target of-
fire alarm goes off, shut everyone off and only allow the firemen. You can set rules like this, like how do you route traffic under what scenario?
This is way down in the weeds on this. One
Totally.
target of opportunity for the future, for the next municipal grant under DOR, would be to extend the town network. First, extend it to the fire station, and secondly, extend from the fire station to the Monument Beach Marina. That's something that probably is doable with. What's the grant limit on that, Brian? 250,000.
Oh, I'd say no, but it's because so part of the reason I got the draft was to start anticipating where we should be picking grants to go where, because we know the draft version of BEAD has picked up the Monument Beach Marina as the CAI. So and secondly, Verizon won't be far from that facility anyway. So there's more likely a FiOS connection could handle the capacity in that area into the fire station. Whereas we aren't as certain about Barlow's outcome, since it's not currently listed in the draft. And but we don't have the rejection list. So we can't be 100% certain on Barlow's outcome at this time until we get a newer version. And so Barlow's would be hit. We could reach Barlow's with a Muni grant. We could also reach the that fire station on the currently non-active fire station. And all of this could reach back to the colo at Depot. Under BEAD, the Muni grant can get there.
Just in terms of timing, we will probably know about eligibility for BEAD and perhaps Gap Network 2 before the RFP from the state DOR comes out on this. So,
Correct,
we'll know whether or not there's a possibility of serving those with BEAD or Gap funding before we have to apply for DOR funding. So
correct. We won't be guessing when we apply. Right now, we're guessing kind of planning capacity for doing the work, but we won't be guessing by the time ink has to go on the page.
Just a note to Jed, I think it's appropriate probably to put in after item B, just say potential application for state DOR fiber funding for the next round of state DOR fiber funding, and just put that as an agenda item in case it pops up, we can discuss it. Okay. Okay. Anything further on digital equity implementation?
I just have one quick question, Bob. You may have an inside track on this with regard to the possible location of the new south of the bridge fire station on Clay Pond Road. Do we know? I'm wondering, they're going to inspect the property, see whether or not they can clean it up. Are there any plans, if they go there, that would somehow tie into us, or we could use some part of that as a little bit of leverage to get some fiber there?
We got I think the draft list of CAIs has the PVA building, which is across the street. So we gotta check that. Still draft.
The new site, Brian, you haven't kept up with this, is further north on Clay Pond Road, and it's up. Do you know where the McDonald's is? That's up off of MacArthur Boulevard.
It's the old Spencer's Gardens
But I thought they rejected that because the perk test wasn't acceptable.
next to the Atlantic Granite Place.
Yeah, the site has some potential red flags. It's got some other hurdles, and I think because of those, it was not included on the May town meeting agenda for funding for purchase, because they basically have an option to buy right now, and they're doing a lot more due diligence.
It was the October funding. Right, because what they found is it's questionable. There may be some pollution due to fertilizer. We're not talking about like firefighting foam or anything like that. So I think the question is they're going to do some more research to see, can it be cleaned up, and if it can be cleaned up, what the cost is, and then try to possibly use that in the negotiation with the landowner, because the location's ideal. It's really good. And I'm just thinking about the municipal building, then we have another place. Being off of Clay Pond Road, that's pretty close to Monument Beach. So,
yeah, it was too early for being aware of that. It was too early to identify as a potential CAI when they hadn't even negotiated any purchase agreement. So that wasn't included. But you're right, and I'm going to move on from that because that's kind of down the road for us. Jed, I sent a couple of just quick comments about the need for regionalization on digital equity. Were you able, or you or Wendy able to make those and say we ought to keep an eye open for opportunities there to leverage what funding we have?
So this was really, the discussion was, what do we do with the $70,000 to $100,000? And it was pretty clear that I got the pretty clear message they want to focus it on a very small number of activities And in the end, it was focused on just doing number one.
Okay.
Yeah, too many notes.
Okay. Okay. So our job
Thank you for
basically
doing
is,
that, by the way. Thank you very much.
yes, thank you so much. Our job, I guess, is just to keep the radar out for possibilities for regionalization and bring those as recommendations to the select board, and we'll go with that. Okay. Moving forward to item D, liaison with the Cape Cod Technology Council. I have not seen any invitations for any meetings there. Brian, have you seen anything? Okay.
It's been quiet. Everyone's waiting for
Yeah,
MBI
the
to
same.
release info.
The same with the Mass Broadband Coalition. I have not made attempts to contact Bob Espindola at all to see what where they're going. So we'll just keep listening to that for that. We have, and we put on as an agenda item, item F, our regional approach to broadband. And I have not heard anything there. I will say that I've had brief discussions with Wayne Sampson. Wayne wears many hats, but he just got 66 write-in votes, and he is the town's delegate to the Assembly of Delegates for the county. So, I could just, as they discuss regional broadband, I could just make our communicate with him regularly. He lives around the corner from me. He also sits on two other committees that I'm on, and I can certainly bring any issues there as we see an appropriate point where the county needs to insert themselves. And I've already mentioned to him the idea of an American Connection Corps staffer being appointed next year and being housed under the wing of the AmeriCorps program. So that can be brought up at an appropriate time. If we get forward to the deadline in April, I believe, for MBI, I guess, doing that, so we can take that forward. Any questions on that, or comments on how that should be approached? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to move forward to liaison with other towns. Okay, if anybody, Jed, anything new with Falmouth especially?
Yeah, nothing new in Falmouth. Just seems to be a holding pattern, waiting for CTC to finish their project with FalmouthNet. I did note in Truro they're having the Internet Committee's having a meeting next week. It looks like they're reviewing a new charge, as I had mentioned earlier, and they're still struggling with the same issues I've mentioned before. They don't have very good service for either cable TV or cell. And I think they're looking at Wellfleet with some, like, how come we can't do that kind of comment in the agenda? So they may be doing something similar. So that's about it.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that Plymouth was working on adding Verizon to their or getting TV for Verizon up there. I know you don't have like a formal liaison with them, but I think this might be a good place to note that. Do you?
Oh yeah, so
have
that
you
was
considered?
that
Have
that
you
was like,
considered making some kind of formal liaison with them?
it was a note. So they have a cable advisory committee, and they may even have finished by now. But there was a cable advisory committee meeting about 5 or 6 months ago. I happened to look at the agenda, and on the agenda they were working on a contract with Verizon. I have no idea what happened with that. I could go, poke around at some of those agendas and minutes to see. But I just happened. This was back. I think somebody had mentioned that Wareham was doing that, and so I just looked at some of the Cable Advisory Committee agenda to see what I could find, and that's what I found. I don't know where it went. I'll look at it for the next meeting.
Yeah, it might be kind of interesting just to chat with somebody up there.
About
all of the above.
I don't know that would. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, once the Verizon's willing to meet the terms of the contract, you sign a contract.
You do it.
That's all. There's not a lot of. They've done this so many times over. There isn't a lot of magic here. It's pretty obvious what's going to be done.
Question, do they have are you aware of Verizon or anybody else having a CO that's in South Plymouth that's north of the Bourne line at all?
I don't know much about the network in Verizon.
Yeah. Again, it might be.
The
So I don't know how far, how
CO list is
880
public. I can get it.
Yeah.
Well, Jed, if you don't want to do it, I'd be willing to give a call to get me a name in Plymouth, and I'll put a connection into them and just say,
So
gee,
remember,
if you have
that's a
time.
cable advisory committee. They don't have an internet committee like we do.
Mhm.
And
Well,
I was going to say, I
go
should
ahead, John.
point out that there's no regulatory framework in effect right now for internet. There is for cable of television, which is one of the reasons that some of the Verizon may be a little cautious about offering television service, particularly in an area where, let's say, there's a lot of rural locations where running the fiber might be difficult or expensive. Once as Jed said, once they say we're going to do it, they got to offer it to everybody. With internet, they don't have to legally.
True, but if they're offering TV in Plymouth over FiOS, presumably they've got fiber to everybody in town already.
Oh, they have for
Okay.
years.
Okay.
They have for years. Yeah, that's old news. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it might be worthwhile to talk to them again. That kind of closes the donut hole around Sagamore Beach, for instance.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyway, moving forward, I think that is the end of our agenda. But I have one significant agenda item to add for our next meeting, and this is relates to the provision of broadband. An applicant has just put in an application for a cell phone tower at 317 Barlow's Landing Road, at the back of the baseball diamond there. They are, in fact, on Monday or maybe Tuesday, they're running a test in the morning where they're going to put up a balloon on a 120-foot cable for anybody to see where the top of the tower will be. And the understanding is they are offering access to all of the companies, to Verizon, to T-Mobile, et cetera, and AT&T to provide service. But I want to put that on the agenda because there has been work and to extend some kind of fiber down Barlow's Landing Road going in that direction. And they have already put in a conduit from that site and way at the back of the site at 317 all the way out to the street, as well as a gas line, presumably for like a generator. So I want to put that on the agenda for the next time. I'll get more about it.
Do we know who the proponent is, by the way? Is it American Tower?
It is, let me read it to you from another meeting yesterday. It is Vertex Towers.
Okay.
They're the applicant, and Vertex Towers LLC, and they are doing this on behalf of the trust fund that now owns that site. It's Daniel P. Prozic Trust, based in Amherst, New Hampshire.
Cool.
In any case, again, we can't discuss this right now, but I want to put that as an agenda item. There is a planning board meeting, I think it is today, I'm not absolutely sure, where that is going to be discussed, but they are passing that immediately off to the Cape Cod Commission because this is a development of regional impact, because the height exceeds the limit that the town has of 80 feet. So all the discussion on this and what they will provide and how they will serve it and everything else will all happen under the guise or under the wing of the Cape Cod Commission. So I want to put that as an agenda item. And in 3 weeks, presumably, I will have maybe some more information on the scheduling for that. But there is fiber being installed on Barlow's Landing Road. And it is going to pass that site. I don't know who is putting it in, but again, they're not saying they're offering FiOS or anything off of it, but I don't know who's putting it in, but it will pass the cell phone tower site.
Hot diggity.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's probably somebody like Crown or whoever that essentially services a lot of the cell sites.
Mhm.
And they also sell dark fiber. I mean, I don't know if that's something that we would ever entertain, but it's certainly available.
Okay. In any case,
Should
that's
save
an agenda item
discussion for the
for when it's
agenda
on the actual agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, so where do you
Okay.
want that, Bob?
I would put that under what would we call that? That's not going to be
Let me,
I would
since
just
I think we're there. Let me
yeah
do
Why don't you
this.
pull the agenda, Ivy?
Yeah. So this is what I've got so far for next time. I don't know if we need all of do we need to still talk about Gap Network too?
I don't think we need the support letter, but I'd leave Gap Network 2 in there just in case they come out
Okay.
with a list of awardees. Okay.
All right. I added this potential application for DOR fiber funding.
Okay.
Do we need to talk about digital equity implementation?
I would instead of recommendations, I would put digital equity implementation hyphen possible regionalization.
Well, we
Possible
have this down
regional.
here. You had me add this down here before.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I think we're done with digital equity for a while.
Okay. And then you wanted to add this in about the fiber to the cell tower?
I would just say fiber service to the cell tower. Where will we put that in? To somewhere around E or F. I mean that the flow there is. I would do it actually. Yeah,
I
fiber
can
to
move
new.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I would put
You
hyphen
want to put
possible.
Barlow's Landing Road on that?
Yeah, just say fiber to Barlow's Landing cell tower, and I would say possible hyphen possible FWA.
Okay, and you like it here? I want to move it
Sure.
somewhere. Okay.
I don't know where we should discuss that. That's probably actually it's what I would do is I'd make that number 5 new business. Okay, that
Okay.
clearly is new. Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that. And that would be A. Yep. Looks good to me.
All right. And I have it set up in 3 weeks, right? November 5th, because 2 weeks is Thanksgiving.
Right, December 5th. Right,
December 5th, yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, should we need a meeting after that, after December 5th, before the end of the year, I will be out of pocket. I'll be in Europe beginning the 11th, and pretty much out of pocket until first week in January. So if we have a subsequent meeting after that, it ought to be sometime after the holidays finish on January 4th or something. So that'll be like January 8th. Just for mental, without scheduling it, just pencil that in on your calendars. That's okay. Okay.
All right, we good with this, Bob?
It looks good to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, I'll send
Very
it out
good.
after the meeting.
Okay. And okay, everyone have a great Thanksgiving holiday and enjoy hopefully visits with family, etc. And with that, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Wendy motions, and who is that?
Jim.
Jed, who's second? John seconds. Okay, roll call vote. Okay, Jed,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Wendy,
Yes.
and the chair and me, yes. And with that, the meeting is adjourned at 7:11.
All
Okay,
right.
thanks, folks.
See you later.
See you all
10-11.
later.